Ever feel like you're spending more time just looking for things than actually, getting work done?
Oh, definitely.
Whether it's in a busy factory or, frankly, even my own home office sometimes, that feeling of chaos can really just drain your energy.
It absolutely can.
So today on the Deep Dive, we're tackling that head on. We're exploring the 5S system from lean manufacturing. It's a really powerful method to bring some efficiency and order into pretty much any environment.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is, it started in manufacturing, sure, but the core ideas, they offer universal benefits. It's
Right.
not just about tidying up. It's a structured 5-step process.
Yeah.
It really transforms how workplaces function. And importantly, it fosters this culture of continuous improvement.
Like a foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it as the essential foundation for any team that's really striving for, peak performance.
Exactly. It's a deep cultural shift, not just like a surface clean. So our goal today is to really understand the fundamental principles and, maybe more importantly, how to practically apply 5S. We're drawing from, years of real-world experience. We're aiming to give you a pretty concentrated dose of valuable knowledge in this focused discussion. So whether you're a manager trying to boost your team's output, or maybe a supervisor wanting to improve safety protocols,
Or even just someone listening who wants a more organized, productive workspace.
myself included, this is for you.
And if you think about the bigger picture, the range of roles, it's huge. Managers, supervisors, team leaders, lean practitioners.
Yeah.
Honestly, anyone looking to optimize their work environment is going to find something valuable here. And the, elegance of 5S is its structured simplicity. So we'll be dissecting those 5 key phases: sort, set and order, shine, standardize, and sustain.
Okay, let's map out that journey then. First, we'll sort. That's identifying what's truly needed and letting go of the rest.
The decluttering step.
Yeah. Then, set and order, arranging what's left in a logical way for maximum efficiency. Next is shine, creating a spotless workspace where problems basically jump out at you.
Makes them obvious.
Fourth, standardize, setting up the routines to keep that order and cleanliness going. And finally, the big one, sustain, building the habits and discipline for, lasting improvement.
And the benefits, that's what makes it so compelling. We're really talking about tangible improvements.
Uh.
Well, a safer workplace, for one, just by getting rid of hazards. A boost in productivity because you're cutting out wasted time searching. Higher quality work because processes become more consistent.
Happier employees too, I bet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A more pleasant setting helps. Plus, you often see cost savings from reducing waste. And it gives you this solid platform for all your other ongoing improvement efforts.
Yeah, here's where it gets interesting though. It's not always a walk in the park, right?
Definitely not. Implementation can have its challenges.
So we'll also look at some common pitfalls and, crucially, how to implement 5S effectively so it actually sticks, so it becomes part of how you operate.
Sounds good. Let's start with that first S.
Okay, let's dive into that first critical phase, sort.
Right, the sort phase. It really is the foundational step, and honestly, it's often underestimated.
Really? People just think it's tidying.
Kind of, yeah. But it's about creating a more efficient and, really importantly, a safer environment. Think of it as the starting point for any real improvement process. It's often where that cultural change begins to take root.
So what's the main objective here?
It's pretty direct.
Yeah.
Eliminate anything that's unnecessary or no longer functional.
Okay, so we're talking about unused items collecting dust.
Exactly. Obsolete materials taking up valuable space, broken tools that should have been fixed or tossed ages ago, even outdated documents cluttering up drawers or, digital folders.
Okay, that raises a big question. How do you actually decide what needs to go? It sounds potentially contentious.
Well, this is where involving the entire team is just paramount. It can't be a top-down thing.
Right.
Everyone needs to critically look at every item in the workspace and ask that key question. Do we really need this right here, right now?
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how much stuff is kept just in case.
The just-in-case pile. I know it well. But what about those maybe items? Things you're not sure about.
Good point. That's where a quarantine area is invaluable.
Quarantine area, like a holding pen.
Pretty much. If there's doubt, don't just chuck it immediately. Put it in a designated temporary spot. This gives you a period, say 30 days, 60 days to evaluate if it's really needed. Prevents hasty decisions you might regret later.
Okay, smart. So we identify the unnecessary stuff. How do we make it crystal clear what needs to actually leave?
Red tags. That's the classic tool.
Simple red tags.
Yep, simple visual tags. You mark the items identified for removal. But just tagging isn't enough. You need to create an inventory list of all the red tagged items.
Oh, okay. Documentation.
Exactly. It provides a clear record. And crucially, you assign responsibility for removing those items and set clear deadlines. Often something like within 30 days is a good target to aim for.
That makes perfect sense. It's not just marking, it's about ensuring action follows.
Precisely. And the sort phase, it's more insightful than just decluttering. It actively helps reveal underlying problems or sources of waste that might have been hidden by all the clutter before.
Like what kind of problems?
Maybe you find multiple broken tools indicating a maintenance issue, or you find excess inventory pointing to purchasing problems. Interestingly, it's also a great time to review your existing work instructions. Are they still relevant? Easy to understand.
So as we're sorting, if we find, say, a broken piece of equipment or a process that just seems really inefficient, what should we do then?
Document it. It's crucial. Keep a detailed record of any issues you discover or any suggestions for improvement that come up during sort. These insights are gold for future improvement work.
Okay, and this isn't just for factories, right? How does sort work in an office? Physical clutter might be less obvious there.
Good question. In an office, sort really focuses on streamlining information.
Ah, digital clutter.
Exactly. Getting rid of duplicate files, redundant email chains, establishing one clear, unique location for each type of data, whether it's on a shared drive or even in physical filing cabinets. It's decluttering your information flows.
Okay, so just to really nail this down, sort is way more than just a tidy up.
Much more.
It's critically evaluating what's essential, getting rid of the non-essential, uncovering hidden problems, and basically setting a strong foundation for all the other S's that follow.
You got it. By identifying and removing the unnecessary and addressing the broken stuff, you're clearing the path for a much more efficient and safer operation. Which leads us nicely into the second S, set in order.
All right, so we sorted, cleared out the clutter. Now we move to set in order. This sounds like where we establish some real structure.
That's spot on. Set in order is all about creating a truly functional system. The goal here is to make work flow much more smoothly, boost efficiency, and ultimately eliminate waste.
How? By organizing things.
Yeah, it involves logically and functionally organizing all the tools, materials, resources, everything that remained after the sort phase. The whole idea is to streamline workflows, making sure everything has its own specific designated place for quick and easy access. A place for everything and everything in its place.
Okay, so how do we actually do set in order? What are the practical steps?
There are a few key steps. First, and this is absolutely critical, you have to analyze the workflow.
Understand how the work actually happens.
Exactly. You can't effectively organize a space if you don't truly understand the processes happening within it. Map them out. Visualize the movement, people, materials, information. A great tool for this is the spaghetti diagram.
Spaghetti diagram.
Yeah.
Sounds messy.
It often looks messy. It visually tracks all those movements, which are often chaotic, and it really highlights where the inefficiencies are. The key question is always, what is the actual process taking place in this specific area?
Okay, so map the process, see the spaghetti trails. What's next?
Once you've got that clear picture, the next step is to organize the tools and materials based on that workflow.
Logically.
Rationally, yeah. Based on frequency of use, things you use all the time, keep them within easy reach, less frequent items, they can go in secondary spots. The main goal here is to minimize those 7 lean wastes. We often talk about excess motion, waiting time, unnecessary inventory. A logical layout directly tackles these.
Makes sense. Keep what you use most, closest. What's the final key step then?
The last key implementation step is to define and clearly mark the different areas within the workspace.
Like zones.
Exactly. Separate operational zones from storage areas, create clear safe zones, use visual cues like color coding, maybe red for safety gear, yellow for pedestrian paths, blue for raw materials, whatever makes sense for that area. But the crucial thing here, base these layouts on objective analysis of the workflow, not just someone's personal preference or trying to make it look neat. It needs to be functional.
You mentioned there are different levels of implementing set in order, like a basic versus advanced approach.
Yes, generally speaking, the basic level often just focuses on aesthetics, making things look tidier.
Okay.
And look, that can be a starting point. It offers some initial benefit, but it's really only scratching the surface. The real power, the long-term benefits of set in order, they come from the advanced level.
And what makes the advanced level different?
The advanced level starts with a really deep dive into the process itself. It's about strategically positioning and clearly labeling everything, tools, materials, information, to absolutely maximize flow and significantly slash those 7 wastes.
So it's more like engineering the workspace.
It's exactly that. It's a focused exercise in process optimization, and it absolutely requires active involvement from the team who actually do the work.
Okay, so what are the specific steps for that advanced implementation?
It involves several key things. First, really thorough process observation, carefully watching how the work is currently done. Then the team analyzes this and proposes a new, improved process designed specifically to cut waste.
Makes sense.
Next comes the physical arrangement of objects to minimize operator movement, walking, reaching, bending. Ensuring frequently used items are super easily accessible is paramount. And here's a really practical tip.
Yeah.
Initially, avoid spending a lot of money on fancy permanent solutions like custom shadow boards. Use simple stuff like cardboard to test out different arrangements first.
I call it like mock-ups.
Exactly. Cardboard engineering. It lets you be flexible, get feedback, refine the layout based on real-world use before you commit to maybe more expensive permanent fixtures.
That's a really valuable practical tip. Test before investing. And you also mentioned a link between set in order and things like cell design and standard work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The core ideas of set and order directly feed into designing efficient work cells, especially in manufacturing. Optimizing the placement of tools and materials directly supports creating that smooth, maybe even single-piece flow. And furthermore, having a well-organized workspace makes it vastly easier to define, document, and consistently follow standard work procedures. When everything has its place, consistent execution becomes much more likely. Variability goes down.
So set in order is really about designing a functional, efficient workspace based on understanding the process, going way beyond just neatness.
Precisely. It's about creating an environment that actively helps smooth workflows and minimizes wasted effort. It effectively sets the stage for the next crucial phase, shine.
Okay, we've sorted, we've set in order. Now we hit the phase that probably pops into most people's heads first when they think about workplace improvement, shine. But I suspect it's more involved than just, grabbing a broom.
You are absolutely right. While shine translates easily to cleaning in the 5S context, it goes way beyond just making things look nice. It's fundamentally about efficiency and safety.
How so?
The shine phase involves thoroughly cleaning the workspace, all the tools, the equipment. But it's not meant as a one-off spring clean.
Right.
It's intended as a regular, ongoing practice, establishing and maintaining really high standards of cleanliness consistently.
So the main goal isn't just presentation.
Not primarily, no.
Yeah.
I mean, a clean workspace definitely helps morale, but the main goal of Shine is creating an environment where it's incredibly easy to spot anything out of the ordinary.
Like an anomalies.
Exactly. A loose wire, a small oil leak, a tool left where it shouldn't be. Regular cleaning also plays a huge role in preventing equipment malfunctions. You spot issues earlier and ensures a safer working environment for everyone.
Okay, so how do we implement Shine effectively?
First key, get all team members involved. Cleaning shouldn't be seen as some separate janitorial task or a low priority. It has to be viewed as a shared responsibility.
Everyone owns it.
Right. You often start with what's called a deep initial cleanse, a really thorough cleaning to bring everything in the area back to an optimal state, removing all the built-up grime, dust, stains, residue.
Okay, a fresh start. But how do we stop it just getting dirty again immediately?
That's the crucial follow-up. After that initial deep clean, it is vital to investigate and document the root causes of the dirt. Why is it accumulating? How does it reappear?
Don't just treat the symptom.
Exactly. Identify why the dirt is there. This analysis often leads to process improvements that actually reduce the need for frequent cleaning later on. Also, taking photos to clearly document the desired cleaning standard is incredibly helpful. It gives everyone a visual benchmark.
And standardizing the cleaning supplies.
Yes, standardizing the cleaning products and the specific methods used ensures consistency across the whole area. Everyone uses the same stuff, the same way.
Makes sense. How does Shine differ in, say, a factory versus an office? Cleaning a machine seems different from tidying a desk.
It is. In production, the focus is heavily on making sure equipment is not just clean, but well maintained. Cleaning is inspection, allowing early detection of potential mechanical issues, wear, leaks, etc.
Okay.
In an office, Shine translates to cleaning desks, organizing common areas like kitchens or meeting rooms, ensuring shared equipment like printers are clean and working, and even managing digital clutter, cleaning up network drives, archiving old files.
Digital Shine.
Exactly. And regardless of the setting, it's essential to address any maintenance issues you uncovered during the cleaning process. Don't just clean around a problem.
So it sounds like Shine is really about much more than surface cleanliness. It's intrinsically linked to spotting problems and keeping equipment healthy.
Absolutely. A clean, orderly environment makes finding tools easier, drastically reduces accident risks, and yes, it definitely boosts morale. People just feel better and work better in a clean, well-kept space.
Now, you mentioned an advanced level of Shine, too. How does that take it further?
Right, the advanced level elevates Shine beyond just removing dirt. It becomes a proactive, preventative approach focused on maximizing efficiency and driving continuous improvement. It builds directly on that initial deep clean and the root cause analysis we just talked about.
Okay, so what are some of these advanced techniques?
There are several key tips. Firstly, cleaning as inspection. Team members aren't just wiping things down. They're trained to actively examine equipment during cleaning for early signs of wear, leaks, loose parts, potential malfunctions. This catches problems before they cause breakdowns.
Proactive maintenance.
Exactly. Secondly, advanced standardization. This goes beyond just standard products. It means standardizing the precise frequency, the specific methods and techniques, often using visual guides like detailed photos or even short videos, plus thorough training.
Okay.
Thirdly, implementing responsibility zones. Clearly defining which specific individuals or teams are responsible for cleaning particular areas. Maps, posters, visual cues foster ownership and accountability.
Clear ownership helps. What else?
Fourth, deep team involvement. The team isn't just doing the cleaning, they're actively involved in defining the cleaning standards and setting up the daily or weekly routines. Again, building that shared responsibility.
Right.
Fifth, focusing on tools and techniques, using high-quality, efficient cleaning tools. Exploring time-saving methods, maybe even considering automation for certain repetitive cleaning tasks if it makes sense.
Streamlining the cleaning itself.
Yes. Sixth, prevention. This is key. Actively implementing measures to reduce the need for cleaning in the first place. Think protective covers for machines, redesigning workflows to minimize spills or dust generation.
Stopping the dirt at the source.
Exactly. And finally, seventh, integration with maintenance, combining routine cleaning tasks with basic preventive maintenance checks, checking fluid levels, lubricating parts, simple inspections, making cleaning a part of overall equipment care.
Wow. So the advanced level really turns cleaning from a chore into a strategic activity for improvement and maintenance.
Precisely. It's about creating a work environment that's not just consistently clean, but also highly functional, inherently safer, and always on a path of getting better. Which brings us logically to the fourth S, standardize.
Okay, we've sorted, set in order, and shined. Now we land on standardize. This sounds like the phase where we lock in all those improvements and make sure they stick.
That's exactly it. Standardize is the phase that brings consistency, efficiency, and safety to every task. It's about building that solid foundation for continuous improvement by making sure all the good stuff we did in the first three phases is maintained and followed consistently by everyone.
So practically speaking, what does it mean to standardize in this 5S context?
It means making sure every single team member clearly understands the expectations, the established best practices, the procedures, and their specific roles and responsibilities.
Clarity.
Total clarity. It defines who does what, when they do it, and what the best, most effective way to do it is. Key tools here are often things like standard operating procedures, SOPs,
Step-by-step guides.
detailed step-by-step instructions for performing tasks efficiently and safely. Another really valuable tool is a RACI table.
HSI.
Yeah, RACI.
Yeah.
It clarifies roles and responsibilities. Who is responsible for doing the task, who is accountable overall, who needs to be consulted, and who just needs to be informed. Really clears up any confusion about who does what.
Okay, that's helpful. How is this standardization actually applied in the workplace?
Well, it starts by analyzing the current best practices for any given task. Could be a production process, a maintenance routine, even an admin task like processing invoices.
Find the best way.
Find the current best way, yeah. Once that most efficient, safest method is identified, you document it clearly and comprehensively. And crucially, this documentation should often include visuals, images, maybe short videos to make the standards super easy to grasp and follow. Standardization also applies to the work environment itself, clearly defining where workstations should be positioned, how tools are stored, where equipment lives. This cuts down wasted search time, boosts efficiency massively.
So the end goal is that pretty much anyone should be able to do a specific task in the best known way, right? Regardless of their experience.
Exactly. Standardization levels the playing field. It ensures everyone can contribute effectively by consistently following the established best practices. But just setting the standards is only half the battle.
Yeah, making them stick.
It's absolutely essential to apply them consistently, repeatedly. This builds habits, ensures everyone's working together harmoniously. That's why monitoring and actively reinforcing the standards is so critical.
So standardization isn't the final destination.
Absolutely not. Standardize isn't an endpoint. It's the crucial foundation you build upon for further improvements. It's the essential groundwork for ongoing change and refinement.
You mentioned some practical tips for effective standardization, sometimes referring to the first 3 S's as the prep work for this 4th S.
Yes, exactly. Often sort, straighten, which is very similar to set and order and shine, are seen as the necessary prep for standardize. So some key practical tips to make standardization really work. First, visually document your standards.
Pictures and videos again?
Absolutely. Use lots of clear images, short videos, show exactly how tasks should be done correctly. It's so much easier to understand than just dense text. Second, actively involve your employees.
Get their buy-in.
Get their buy-in and their expertise. Don't just dictate standards from an office. When the people doing the work are involved in identifying and documenting the best practices, the standards are more practical and people are way more likely to follow them.
Makes perfect sense. Ownership is key. What are some other critical tips?
Third, standardize administrative activities too. Don't just focus on the shop floor, apply the same thinking to offices. Document management, printer use protocols, ordering supplies, standardize it. Fourth, establish clear cleaning routines. Define the standards, document them visually, create schedules, assign responsibilities, make cleaning part of the standard work.
Okay.
Fifth, consider creating dedicated 5S order boards in each area. These visual boards show the current 5S status, pictures of the standards, schedules, improvement ideas, follow-up actions, everything visible.
Visual communication seems like a really strong theme running through all of this.
It's incredibly powerful for clarity, communication, and driving adherence. Which leads to the 6th tip. Implement visual systems for follow-up. Use visual calendars with checkpoints for tasks. Link these to checklists. A great tool here is the Kamishibai board.
Kamishibai.
Yeah, it's a simple but effective visual control tool for conducting audits and managing follow-up actions very transparently. 7th, adopt a continuous improvement mindset. Remember, standardization is the starting point. Regularly monitor, audit, get feedback. Look for ways to refine and improve the standards over time.
And what about leadership's role in standardization?
Absolutely crucial. 8th, lead by example. Managers, supervisors, they need to follow the standards themselves in their own work areas. And they need to conduct regular follow-ups with their teams. Offer recognition, foster a culture of growth. And finally, 9th, don't aim for perfection immediately.
Start small.
Start practical. Use temporary solutions, maybe tape lines before painting, simple labels before engraving, to test and refine standards in the real world. Focus on steady, consistent improvement, not immediate, maybe unattainable, perfection.
Okay, so standardize is really about collaboratively creating clear, visual, documented best practices, applying them consistently everywhere, and then always looking for ways to make them even better.
Exactly. It's about building that solid, repeatable way of working, which perfectly sets the stage for the final and arguably most critical S in the whole system, sustain.
And here we are at the final S, sustain. This one always gets flagged as the biggest challenge, making sure all the hard work from the first 4 phases doesn't just, evaporate over time.
You've hit the nail right on the head. Sustain is often seen as the toughest phase because it's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing, unwavering commitment to consistently maintain and proactively improve the standards you've set.
Right, after all that effort.
Exactly. After sorting, setting in order, shining, standardizing, the real long-term task is successfully integrating these practices into the very fabric of the company culture, making it just how we do things around here.
So it's not just about individual willpower, like personal discipline.
Absolutely not. True sustainability isn't just about individuals trying hard. It needs a structured, consistently applied system that involves every level of the organization. Consistent maintenance and that proactive mindset of continuous improvement, those are the 2 pillars holding it up.
And leadership.
Oh, leadership must not just endorse it. They have to actively lead by example. You can't delegate sustainment. Active, visible participation from leadership is absolutely essential for long-term success.
So how do we actually implement sustain on them in a practical, effective way?
The cornerstone, really, is implementing regular and rigorous audits. Yes, but not in a gotcha way. These aren't fault-finding exercises. They're opportunities to objectively see if standards are being met, and more importantly, to proactively spot areas needing further improvement. They need a consistent schedule, standardized checklists, objective methods to ensure fairness and accuracy.
Okay, regular checkups are vital. What else is key to sustaining 5S long-term?
Visualization plays a massive role here.
Again with the visuals.
It's critical. Use visual boards, readily accessible tools to clearly show the audit status, the results achieved, any areas needing attention or improvement efforts. This transparency fosters shared responsibility, keeps everyone engaged, and publicly recognizing team achievement certificates, small awards, even just a well done in a team meeting can be incredibly effective for motivation. Keeps people bought in. Remember, these visual boards, checklists, calendars, policies, they need to be easy to see, easy to access, and easy to understand for everyone, even someone new to the area.
So making progress and problems highly visible drives accountability and motivation.
Precisely. Long-term sustainability also requires a continuous review of the standards themselves. Standards aren't set in stone.
They evolve.
They have to. They should be seen as dynamic starting points for ongoing refinement. Actively encourage employees, all employees, to suggest ideas for simplifying processes, reducing waste further. Use visuals, photos, videos to showcase successful improvements and spread that positive culture of change throughout the organization.
And what about new people joining the team? How do they get up to speed?
Ongoing, comprehensive training is vital. New hires need thorough training on the 5S basics and the specific standards in their area. Existing employees need regular refreshers and updates on any changes or new best practices. Sustain doesn't just happen. It needs constant effort, monitoring, and education for everyone.
So sustain is really the continuous effort that determines the long-term success of the whole 5S implementation.
Exactly. It's the constant commitment to maintain the standards, relentlessly look for ways to improve, and truly foster that deep organizational culture of excellence. Now, we can even talk about some advanced techniques to transform sustain from just keeping things okay into a powerful driver of ongoing improvement.
I'm all ears. How do we elevate sustain beyond just maintenance?
Okay, firstly, it's about deeply integrating 5S into the company culture. Sustain isn't just checking boxes. It's embedding the principles into the daily mindset and actions of every employee.
Making it automatic.
Making it natural, where employees actively participate in decisions, spot problems, propose solutions as part of a normal job. It stops being a separate initiative and becomes just how work gets done.
True cultural transformation. What's another advanced technique?
Proactively implementing poka-yoke, or error-proofing systems.
Error-proofing, making mistakes impossible.
Or at least making them immediately obvious. Instead of just relying on people being careful all the time, advanced sustain focuses on preventing errors, introducing physical mechanisms, sensors, alarms, interlocking parts that either stop mistakes or flag them instantly. The goal is simplifying processes so they require less intense focus, guide people towards doing it right, reduce errors, boost efficiency.
That's very proactive. What else can elevate sustain?
It's crucial to periodically review and evolve the standards. They aren't static. They need to adapt as the business changes, as new opportunities arise. Implement regular systematic reviews. Actively solicit employee feedback on relevance and effectiveness. Experiment with new solutions. Adapt as the organization grows. This keeps the 5S system dynamic and effective.
Constant review and adaptation. Makes sense in a changing world. How do we keep the momentum and enthusiasm going long-term?
Consistent communication and genuine recognition are vital. Celebrate team wins publicly. Showcase success stories. Acknowledge individuals excelling in 5S. Visible recognition builds pride, motivates continued effort. Leaders need to give credit, encourage collaboration, foster that positive atmosphere.
So it's a mix of embedding principles, preventing errors, adapting standards, and celebrating success. What's the final key takeaway for advanced sustain?
The final, maybe most important point? Understand, sustain is a journey, not a destination. Advanced sustain is about continuous growth, relentless improvement. It needs unwavering commitment from everyone, all the time. By using these advanced techniques, sustain transforms from potentially the hardest phase into the one driving the most significant, long-lasting positive changes. It fuels that journey towards operational excellence.
This has been incredibly insightful. Now let's switch gears slightly to the really practical side. What kind of materials do we actually need to implement 5S? Does it mean buying lots of expensive, specialized tools?
That's a great, very practical question. And the beauty of 5S is no, it doesn't require a huge investment in fancy gear.
Really?
Yeah, a core idea in Lean is creativity and resourcefulness over just spending money. The goal is using simple, accessible, cost-effective materials. Let's break down some essentials for each phase.
Okay, sounds good. Let's start with sort. What do we need?
For sort, it's pretty basic stuff. You'll need adhesive labels and markers for identifying things, some boxes, containers, or bags to physically separate the keep from the go items. And of course, those red tags that we mentioned for clearly marking items destined for removal or the quarantine zone makes it really visual.
Simple, straightforward. What about for set and order?
For set and order, you need things to help organize and visually arrange. Think pegboards, hooks, shelves, drawer dividers, things for creating organized storage. Colored tape is incredibly useful for marking zones and pathways on floors or benches. Whiteboards or display boards can show where tools should be. And shadow boards, where you draw the outline of tools, are super effective for instantly seeing if something's missing.
Okay, mostly basic organizational tools. What about Shine?
For Shine, it's mainly standard cleaning supplies, cloths, brooms, brushes, maybe a general-purpose detergent, vacuum cleaners. Crucially, you also need a simple way to document the cleaning standards often. Just taking clear photos is the most practical way. And a helpful tip, try to standardize on a single, versatile cleaning product if possible. Keeps things simple, less inventory of different chemicals.
Good tip. Simplicity aids consistency. Moving on to Standardize.
For Standardize, materials are mostly about documenting and maintaining the standards. Photos and short videos are invaluable for showing before and after and the correct way to do tasks. Most smartphones are perfect for this now. You could use QR codes linked to digital instructions or videos. And practical tools like simple checklists, visual calendars, laminated 5S work cards help with consistent follow-up and adherence.
And finally, materials for the crucial sustain phase.
For Sustain, it's about monitoring, evaluation, and communication. Display boards are essential for showing audit results, progress, areas needing attention. And to maintain motivation and recognize effort, simple certificates or small awards for teams or individuals who consistently demonstrate great 5S practices can be really effective.
It's really encouraging that implementing 5S doesn't have to break the bank. It seems much more about being organized, resourceful, and committed to the principles.
Exactly. The main focus is making 5S a daily habit, part of the culture, using simple, cost-effective materials to foster that continuous improvement mindset everywhere.
So we have the phases, the materials. How do we actually kick this off in an organization, get the ball rolling? I often hear about 5S events.
Yeah, that's a common approach. While the ultimate aim is for 5S to be a continuous ingrained cultural thing, organizing initial focused 5S events can be a really powerful way to teach the method through hands-on practice in a specific area.
Like boot camp.
Kind of, yeah. There are generally 3 main phases to a successful 5S event: thorough preparation, focused execution, and ongoing maintenance.
Okay, let's start with preparation. What needs to happen before the event?
Prep involves getting 3 key things ready: the leaders, the participants, and the materials. Leaders need some strategic training, ideally from someone experienced, a sensei perhaps explaining why 5S is important, how it links to business performance. The people participating need training on the 5S method itself, and they need to know the specifics: where, when, how long the event is. And finally, all those materials we just talked about, tailored for the specific event area, need to be ready to go in advance.
Okay, leaders prepped, participants informed, materials ready. What happens during the execution phase?
Execution should kick off right on time at the designated spot with a visible leadership presence. It's really important that leaders actually participate in the event. Maybe not every single senior leader, but good representation leading by example is huge.
Rolling up their sleeves.
Exactly. Then, within that defined event area, the team just works through the 5S steps systematically, like we've discussed. Sort, set in order, shine, maybe even drafting initial standards.
And after the event itself wraps up, what are the crucial next steps?
The final phase is maintenance, which, as you probably guessed, is basically the sustain phase we covered earlier.
Okay.
It involves setting up a schedule for regular audits in that area, fostering continuous improvement. There are checklists available that can help make sure you cover all the bases for maintaining the gains from the event.
Makes sense. So the events are like a catalyst to start the culture shift. You also mentioned a rule of thumb for figuring out team size for an event.
Yeah, it's a rough guide based on experience. The general idea is the total work hours needed roughly equals the square meters of the area.
Okay.
So, simple example, a 20 square meter area might need about 20 total hours of work. If you plan a 4-hour event, you'd probably want about 5 people involved. 5 people by 4 hours, it's 20 hours. But remember, it's just indicative. Depends heavily on how complex the area is. Lots of cabinets, drawers, equipment density, how cluttered it is to start with.
That's a really helpful, practical way to estimate resources for an event. Now, even after a great initial 5S implementation, How do we make sure things stay on track? That people don't slowly slip back into old habits?
That is exactly where regular, effective 5S audits and visual tools like dashboards become absolutely crucial. Even the best start needs ongoing monitoring, evaluation, and clear accountability to stick long-term.
So what exactly are 5S audits in this context?
There are structured, systematic assessments designed to objectively measure how well a work area is complying with the established 5S standards.
Like a health check.
Exactly. They help determine if the workplace is consistently maintaining that organizational discipline needed for 5S to really work. A good audit checks. Are unnecessary items gone? Does everything have a designated place? Is the area consistently clean? Are routines being followed? Are improvements being sustained?
And what makes for an effective, insightful 5S audit?
Several key things. First, keep the scoring simple and understandable. A 1 to 5 scale often works well. Second, include visual standards. Use those before and after photos right on the audit sheet showing the expected condition. Third, focus on specific, measurable criteria. Clear questions for each S, objective, not ambiguous. Fourth, establish regular schedules. Weekly audits maintain momentum, monthly audits prevent backsliding, and finally, rotate the auditors.
Rotate auditors. Why?
Include managers, team members from the area, maybe even people from other areas. It builds broader ownership, spreads understanding, brings fresh eyes, prevents it feeling like it's just one person's job to check up on everyone.
Rotating auditors, that's a great idea for engagement. You also mentioned 5S dashboards. What are those?
The dashboards are basically visual displays showing the audit results and any ongoing improvement activities. They make progress visible at a glance and quickly highlight areas needing attention or help.
What goes on a good dashboard?
Key elements usually include tracking audit scores over time, trends, those before-after photos, clear responsibility assignments for fixing issues, a log of improvement suggestions, and the status of active action items. Keeps everything transparent.
So these dashboards give that quick, digestible visual summary of 5S performance. What's the overall value of doing both consistent audits and using these informative dashboards?
The combined value is huge. They help transform 5S from a one-off project into a sustainable part of the culture. They create accountability. They make problems visible quickly, allowing timely fixes. They drive continuous improvement by providing regular, objective feedback. They help celebrate successes and recognize effort, keeping motivation high. And crucially, they give leadership a clear, concise view of progress, challenges, and where support might be needed. Using robust audits and transparent dashboards significantly boosts the odds that 5S efforts lead to lasting improvements, not just temporary tidiness.
This all ties together so logically. Now, I've often heard about a strong link between 5S and another lean concept, cell design, especially in manufacturing. Can you unpack how these two are related and work together?
Absolutely. Yeah, in the quest for operational excellence, 5S and cell design are definitely fundamental and deeply interconnected lean ideas. When you implement them together, effectively coordinating them, they create this powerful synergy, boost productivity, quality, even employee engagement.
Okay.
To really get the relationship, it helps to think about each one first.
Right. Let's start with 5S as the foundation again.
Okay, so 5S, as we've gone over, establishes that core organizational discipline essential for effective operations. It basically creates the groundwork for all other improvement activities to succeed. It systematically kills waste, removing unnecessary stuff, organizing tools logically, keeping things clean so problems are obvious, setting clear visual standards, and maintaining it all through audits.
And then cell design, how does that fit in?
Cell design focuses specifically on arranging equipment and workstations in a sequential flow. The aim is to drastically minimize material transportation and cut waiting times between process steps.
So 5S is within the workspace, cell design is between workspaces.
Largely, yes. 5S focuses on organizing inside a workstation or area. Cell design looks at how those individual workspaces relate to each other in the overall production system. Key ideas in cell design include processes arranged in operational order, aiming for one-piece flow, minimizing walking distance, often using U-shaped or straight lines, maybe having operators run multiple machines.
Okay, so 5S is internal organization, cell design is flow between stations. How do they connect and reinforce each other?
They complement each other in critical ways. Think about it. Without a solid 5S foundation, even the best designed work cell will struggle to maintain efficiency over time. Clutter comes back, tools get lost, problems get hidden.
Right.
Conversely, great 5S within poorly designed cells still means lots of waste, long travel times, waiting, etc. The connection is clear in several areas. For instance, the visual management from 5S often makes flow disruptions obvious, highlighting exactly where cell redesign might be needed.
It reveals the problems.
Exactly. Clean, organized spaces make abnormalities instantly visible, supporting Jidoka, the ability to stop when there's a quality issue. Proper organization via 5S ensures tools and materials are right at the point of use within cells, cutting out searching. Standardized work is way easier to maintain in organized cells. And the visual systems in 5S directly support the lean principle of Santé, having the designated volumes in designated locations at the designated timing.
So it sounds like 5S really builds the foundation that enables effective cell design, and well-designed cells benefit hugely from the order 5S provides.
Precisely. When you integrate 5S principles right into the strategic design of work cells, organizations see substantial, often compounding benefits.
Like what?
Reduced non-value-added movement, people, and materials. Lower setup times, because everything's ready and organized. Demonstrably better quality from standard work and error visibility, enhanced visual management for quick responses, and noticeably better employee engagement as teams help organize and optimize their own areas. By seeing 5S as the foundational discipline for cell design, companies build systems that constantly improve flow, quality, efficiency. The best implementations see them as two sides of the same coin, part of a unified lean system.
That really clarifies how 5S impact goes way beyond just tidiness, directly influencing the fundamental design and efficiency of workflows. Now, let's shift to another critical aspect, leadership. How vital is strong leadership involvement for a successful and maybe more importantly, lasting 5S implementation?
Leadership commitment isn't just important, it is absolutely crucial. Fundamentally non-negotiable, really, for any successful and sustainable 5S implementation. While lots of focus goes on the technical how-to of 5S.
Right, the tools and techniques.
It's ultimately the consistent actions and unwavering commitment of leadership that determines if these efforts lead to real, long-lasting change, or just become another flavor of the month initiative that fades away.
You mentioned true leadership is more than just basic support. What does active, effective 5S leadership actually look like?
Yeah, true leadership goes way beyond just signing off on budgets or showing up for a kickoff meeting. Leaders at all levels have to actively model the behaviors they expect.
Lead by example.
Exactly. They need to consistently demonstrate personal commitment by applying 5S principles diligently to their own workspaces, their own offices. When leaders visibly follow the standards themselves, they gain firsthand experience, sure, but more importantly, they send this powerful, unmistakable signal throughout the organization. 5S isn't just a program, it's a fundamental operating philosophy. That genuine leadership by example sets the stage for real cultural transformation.
So it starts with visible leadership from the top down. What other key responsibilities do leaders have in fostering a thriving 5S culture?
A leader's main job here is actively cultivating a culture where continuous improvement is the norm, an ingrained way of thinking. This takes more than just initial enthusiasm. It needs patience, consistency in actions and messages, and clear, frequent communication. Effective leaders constantly emphasize 5S isn't just about tidiness. It's about creating standardized conditions that make problems visible, establishing that reliable foundation for ongoing improvement. By clearly linking 5S initiatives to the organization's strategic goals and KPIs, leaders help everyone understand the real importance and value of participating and adhering to 5S.
And how should leaders be involved day to day in the execution and maintenance?
They need to be actively involved. Effective leadership means establishing and participating in a robust daily management system. That includes regular jumbo walks.
It's going to see the work.
Yes, going to the actual workplace, participating in scheduled 5S audits, leading regular improvement discussions with their teams. These routines clearly show that leaders prioritize 5S. They create accountability. When leaders treat 5S audits as non-negotiable items in their own calendars, it powerfully reinforces the discipline and importance of 5S everywhere.
It sounds like leaders also have a big role in developing their teams through 5S.
Absolutely. Leaders should strategically use 5S as a vehicle for people development. By involving team members in implementing and improving 5S in their own areas, leaders create meaningful opportunities for employees to build skills, take ownership of their environment, and shift 5S from being just rules to follow into a collaborative, empowering process they contribute to and benefit from.
Okay. And finally, how can leaders make sure that initial enthusiasm doesn't just fizzle out over time?
Leaders have to proactively maintain accountability as that initial buzz naturally fades. The most successful organizations do this by formally integrating 5S performance into their core management systems.
How? Like in performance reviews?
Exactly. Including 5S adherence in performance reviews.
Yeah.
Considering 5S contributions for promotions. Maybe even linking 5S performance to certain compensation structures. By embracing these leadership roles, modeling behavior, creating culture, participating in daily management, developing people, maintaining accountability leaders, transform 5S from a simple housekeeping program into a powerful, sustainable engine for long-term excellence. The journey starts with leadership commitment and succeeds through consistent, visible, supportive actions at every level.
This has been a really comprehensive and insightful deep dive into the 5S method. Before we wrap up, maybe we could distill some of the final, most crucial, key conclusions for everyone listening.
Absolutely. Let's try to summarize the core wisdom.
Yeah.
It's essential to remember 5S is way more than just tidying up. It's fundamentally about transforming the whole organizational culture through consistent, small, daily improvements. Paul Akers really emphasizes this.
Right.
It serves as that essential foundation for all other improvement activities, as Masaki Yamai points out. Without this underlying discipline, sustainable, continuous improvement is basically impossible. Success demands unwavering management commitment, daily practice by everyone, and those clear visual standards that make deviations instantly obvious.
And thinking specifically about the Toyota Way perspective.
From that viewpoint, 5S establishes crucial visual control across the operation. It creates a standardized, stable platform for improvement efforts to build on. And it fosters respect for employees by empowering them with ownership of their workspace. True success comes when 5S principles become deeply ingrained, part of the organizational DNA, just a natural way people think and work.
So what's the big picture takeaway for organizations thinking about implementing 5S?
It's vital to see 5S as a significant long-term investment, not a quick fix or a short project. It won't necessarily show immediate, massive financial returns on a spreadsheet tomorrow. It needs dedicated resources, competent people leading the charge, and a sustained budget. And the human element is absolutely fundamental. Active, visible leadership participation, consistently celebrating team successes, recognizing individual contributions. These are essential for long-term adoption and effectiveness. Ultimately, when it's done right, maintained diligently and supported with unwavering commitment, 5S becomes that stable foundation for the entire Lean journey. It boosts problem-solving everywhere and establishes a true, enduring culture of continuous improvement that drives lasting results.
That's a really powerful summary. So just to reiterate for everyone, this deep dive has taken us all the way from that initial sort phase right through to the vital sustain phase, giving a detailed, practical look at the whole 5S methodology. It's clear that thoughtfully and consistently applying these principles holds huge potential for substantial improvements in efficiency, safety, and overall workplace culture. I'd really encourage you, our listener, to think about which specific parts of 5S resonate most with the challenges you face in your work or the goals you're trying to achieve right now.
Yeah, find your starting point.
Exactly. And definitely explore some of the extra resources we touched on for more detail and practical tools. And finally, maybe just leave you with this thought to mull over. Consider how consistently applying even one of the 5 core 5S principles could start to transform your daily work. And then what larger changes might be possible with a more comprehensive adoption? What's that first small, realistic step you could take, maybe even today?